It's Monday night, and you know what that means. Jersey First TV proudly brings the latest edition of Real Talk, and I am New Jersey's premier and, of course, seven-time award-winning journalist, top 100 Latino via the Latino Spirit online magazine, and, of course, the weapon of mass disruption here in Garden State Media. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it is the handsome, cold-hearted devil myself, Fernando Uribe, here on a Monday. Happy February to you all. I'm rocking that red today because you know what, ladies and gentlemen, my Rutgers Scarlet Knights are back in the top 25. Let me have a little tea right now. Oh, baby, yes. How about them Scarlet Knights, of course, getting that big win over the weekend at Madison Square Garden against, that Spartan team from Michigan State. Folks sitting all by themselves in second place in the Big Ten. Who would have thought it, folks, right? 5 years ago, a few years back, when Rutgers entered the Big Ten, you never thought they'd be on national television. You never thought they'd be nationally ranked. But you know what? Today, on the 6th of February, they sit in sole possession of second place in the Big Ten Conference, right behind Purdue, who is still number one in the country. I believe they're 16-1, but that one loss, that's at the hands of the Scarlet Knights, and they still got to play in Piscataway later on. So a great Big Ten schedule. I'm rocking that red, ladies and gentlemen, because there is no bigger Rutgers alumnus in Garden State Media than yours truly. And, of course, I want to thank you all for tuning in from wherever and however you may be doing so right now on Facebook Live, also via StreamYard, as well as on LinkedIn, Twitter, and on the Jersey First YouTube page. And without a doubt, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you check us out on all of our social media platforms, whether it's liking Facebook, of course, Real Talk with Fernando Uribe and Jersey First. Make sure you follow me on both Instagram and Twitter at the Fernando Zone. Don't forget to subscribe to the Jersey First YouTube page. And, of course, wherever you get your podcast, whether it's on Spotify or SoundCloud, download Jersey First and take it with you, whether it's to the gym, trying to work off those pounds right before Valentine's Day, want to look good for your honey, right before Valentine's Day, whatever it is, doing homework, walking your dog, folks. People listen to Jersey First wherever they go. And, of course, we want to thank you for always tuning in and sharing all of our great content, of course, via Jersey First TV. And folks, and I cannot say enough about how proud I am to be a part of the Jersey First team. Certainly there, the fabulous four right there on our promo photo. Elizabeth Nader, of course, the host of the Nader Narrative. You can check it out every Thursday via jerseyfirst.org/TV. And, of course, Bridging the Gap with AJ Malilo and Stephen Rombolo. Certainly a wonderful show that they bring you as well via Jersey First TV. And certainly, folks, every Monday night, yours truly brings your Real Talk every Monday night at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Once again, via Facebook Live, on StreamYard, and, of course, on Jersey First TV via YouTube. Folks, I can't say it enough. You know, it is after 6 p.m. on the East Coast. And, of course, all the haters are running to their PCs, their Macs, their smartphones, their tablets, because they just cannot help themselves, because they know every Monday night they have no choice but to listen and watch Real Talk with Fernando Uribe via Jersey First TV. Folks, it is an election year, of course, in the state of New Jersey, and certainly I bring you the exclusives that nobody else does anywhere in Garden State Media. And the reason that this show does excellent organic traffic, not like some of these little Mickey Mouse shows that you see on other news sites, okay? Everything here is organic. It's as organic as Whole Foods, right? Wherever you can do your shopping, no boosted ads, nothing's paid for. I don't have to pay anybody to carry my content like some other clowns in New Jersey media or whatever, you want to call in the New Jersey media echo chamber. But not here, folks, because every single week I bring you outstanding traffic and exclusives you don't see anywhere else. And, of course, in an election year, you know what? I'm talking to candidates that the other mainstream liberal media outlets in New Jersey are not speaking to, and I'm proud to do that, of course, this week, and it's no exception. Joining me live here tonight on Real Talk is New Jersey State Senate candidate in the 16th Legislative District, former U.S. Representative, and my friend here, of course, a big fan of the show, the great Mike Pappas joins us on Real Talk. Mike, how are you?
Great. Thanks so much for having me here with you tonight.
Appreciate it. Now, Mike, again, for our audience maybe is not aware, ladies and gentlemen, after the 2020 redistricting, obviously after the census data, just to give everybody a little bit of a heads up about what is a part of the 16th Legislative District, it includes multiple municipalities in Hunterdon County, which include Delaware Township, Flemington Borough, Raritan Township, and of course, and also Reddington Township and Stockton Borough. Now, of course, the consolidated Mercer County area consists of Princeton, the Middlesex County municipality of South Brunswick Township, and of course, the Somerset municipality, which consists of Branchburg Township, Hillsborough Township, Manville Borough, Millstone Borough, Montgomery Township, Rocky Hill Borough, not to be confused with Rocky Road ice cream, and of course, Somerville Borough, a very unique and different 16th legislative district, certainly after redistricting. Mike, I have to ask, of course, you've already been in government. You've served in the House of Representatives in the late 90s for a term. So you're familiar with being in government, with legislating. You did it at the federal level. Now you're looking to do it at the state level. Quite frankly, why are you interested in running for state senate?
Well, in 2021, I had the chance to run for this seat and came up a bit short. And I'm really running for some of the same reasons, but frankly, there's been a few additional areas of public policy that have really concerned me. As Republicans, people talk about state spending and it's out of control. People are leaving New Jersey. As I talk to residents, a third of the people that I talk to, if I'm in any kind of a group, they talk about their exit strategy. And it doesn't have to be that way. Every single one of these people say they've been here for a long time, they've worked or they've had a business and their families here. They really don't want to leave, but they just can't afford it. But what's happened over the last couple of years is there is a whole new concern about what's happening in our public schools and the sexualization of children as low as kindergarten and first grade. The number of people that I have encountered that had never been involved in anything before that were running for school board this past year and are planning to run for school board again this year is mind-boggling to me. Average moms and dads, sometimes people that don't have children in the school district, grandparents that are motivated to run because they are really concerned about the indoctrination that they're seeing in the lowest levels of grammar schools in New Jersey. Now, not every school district is in that situation. You have many very brave and courageous school boards that are making decisions to support parental rights. And I think that is an underlying concern that thousands of New Jerseyans have, and I share that concern.
Mike, I'm with you, and I've really been the only journalist anywhere in Garden State media that's been talking about this. I've talked to LGBT activists on this program. I've talked to legislators, and we'll get into that curriculum in a moment because it concerns me as well. But you did bring up the numbers, obviously, when you ran in 2021, a very close race. The incumbent Andrew Zwicker won with 41,837 votes at a margin of 53.3%. But you were so close, as you mentioned, at 36,632, again, around 46.7%, right there, neck and neck. And, for a state that thinks it's so blue, it really isn't. It's pockets that are blue, just like pockets are red. I think everywhere else maybe is a little bit more purple. But just getting back to sort of the demographics here, obviously, I think it's very important to sort of point out to our audience that we look at the voter registration in the 16th legislative district. Now, 36.5% of registered voters are Democrats, only 24.6% are Republicans, but an overwhelming 38% are unaffiliated independent voters like myself. I would argue that, listen, you did a great job making a dent into those numbers in 2021. I would argue that Democrats in Trenton, though, Mike, have made it very easy, I would say, for a lot of Republicans running in a lot of competitive districts, like 16, for example, that we have the highest property taxes in the country, which is true, a little over $9,200, right? Where I live up here in Hudson County, nearby in Bergen County, for example, we have some municipalities that are averaging, I don't know, $16,000, $17,000 a year in property taxes, all the way down to Union County, for example, in Short Hills, where it's a whopping $24,000. So it's an astronomical amount. We're seeing spending just irresponsible as always in Trenton. Democrats have had a majority in the legislature for over 20 years, but yet many in the legislature will say, well, New Jersey has to get more affordable. Hello, the reason it's unaffordable is because of far left, like economically illiterate Democrats in Trenton. Not all of them are bad, okay, but a lot of them, that espouse this. Hey, they think we print money, and if they ran their homes the way they run Trenton, they'd be out on the street, Mike.
Right, right. You know, one of the indirect results of the attitude in Trenton is raising of property taxes. Unfunded mandates on local government is something that is not talked about in Trenton. I'll give you one example. Body cameras. Body cameras, I think, are a great and important tool for our police departments. It's very, very important to support law enforcement and give them the tools that they need to be effective. But body cameras protects everyone. It provides a record of what took place in any interaction that a law enforcement official will have with a resident or a visitor. But the state now mandates that all police departments have body cameras, but they're not funding it. They're funding approximately 30 to 40% of the costs that local governments have to incur to have body cameras. My point is, it's a great program, but if they think it's so great, then they should fund it. And that has been an indirect, or maybe I shouldn't say an indirect, a direct increase to people's property taxes in every municipality that has a police department around the state. And that is just an attitude that people like Andrew Zwicker have. And I have experience in local government. I understand what it means to balance a municipal budget. And those kinds of programs, while well-intentioned, raise property taxes. If I could, I just want to make one point, not to correct you, but the 16th district lines have changed since what you described. What you described is the district that I ran in 2021. The district now dropped Somerville and Manville and now includes 4 towns in northern Hunterdon County: Clinton Township, the town of Clinton, the borough of Highbridge, and the borough of Lebanon. So the district actually has improved from a demographic or a political perspective, partisan perspective, from my perspective, that actually helps close that gap that you outlined. So I was very enthusiastic about making the run in 2021. I'm just as enthusiastic about making it in 23 with what I think is a more favorable landscape for me.
Absolutely. And again, folks, it's a very competitive district. And if you're just joining us right now, it's 6:14 on the East Coast here on Jersey First TV. My guest this week is LD16 State Senate candidate Mike Pappas, former U.S. representative as well, here joining us on Real Talk. It's interesting, though, Mike, because I look at this district as very competitive. We know that one of the assembly people, I believe, just looking at my notes here, I know Assemblywoman Sadaf Jaffer has indicated she will not be running for re-election. She was really well liked in that district, I think, by the Democratic sort of establishment. It really puts a lot of a squeeze on State Senator Zwicker and, of course, Assemblyman Roy Freeman. I would just say that this district is up for grabs anyway. I think there's this sort of collective just groan about what's going on in Trenton. And, when we look at really what's, the majority right now, we're looking at, these numbers in Trenton right now as it comes to the majorities in the legislature. And I have to tell you, Republicans have a chance to make a dent and shave a little bit into this majority. Right now in the Assembly, it's 46 to 34 Democrats. Now, again, that's a big improvement from 2021, where we sent 9 new Republican Assemblywomen to Trenton. And certainly the majority of the state Senate was shaved down to now 24 to 16. I would argue, just like last week when I interviewed William Michelson in his race against State Senator Scutari, I think that's a very competitive race. I think LD16 is just as competitive as well. Let's get into the sort of meat and bones about the district itself. You're running, obviously, I know you work at a municipal level in Bridgewater. I had the privilege of interviewing Mayor Matthew Mensch a few weeks back, and he was a great guest. Looking forward to having him on again. I'm not sure if you caught that episode with the mayor, but you're very familiar with government, as you mentioned, working at the federal level, working obviously at a municipal level. You're looking to do it at a state level. Quite frankly, should you win coming up in June in the primary and go on to defeat state senator right now, obviously, as we know, State Senator Zwicker, what would you like to tackle in your first 100 days as a state senator in LD16?
Well, it's a great question, and I'm glad you asked that. A couple of things I think are the most critical. I think getting the Department of Education under control and ensuring that parental rights are supported by the Department of Education, I think is absolutely critical. I talked about unfunded mandates. That is a direct assault upon property taxes. But a third area that I think is critically important is what the state is doing to determine about the policies and programs put forth during the COVID-19 pandemic.
Yeah.
Thousands of people died in the state of New Jersey. The approach that the Murphy administration and that the Democrat majority in the legislature seem to be supporting would have a paid consultant, two paid consultants, review what the state government's response was. I think that is insulting to have consultants, and I'm told one of the consultants were financial donors to the Murphy campaign.
You're kidding. You're kidding. No way. You're kidding.
But I would propose a bipartisan commission similar to what the federal government established after the tragedy of 9/11. I think there needs to be a legitimate, fair assessment of really what took place, how we could have done better, and in the future, God forbid something like this should occur again, what should be done in the future. That is very, very important. You know, during the last days of the campaign, my wife and I both got COVID in 2021. I recovered pretty quickly. She did not. She had a long hospital stay. Thankfully, she is doing extremely well today. I had a first-hand look at what our healthcare system, the challenges, as well as the magnificent healthcare workers that saved my wife's life. And I don't underestimate the magnitude of what they did. But what I saw all around me in her nursing homes, we've all seen the reports. We need to have a look at what really occurred and what we could do better.
Amen, Mike. And I've been one of the few journalists in New Jersey that has just been crying foul about this entire BS commission that the Murphy administration is going to do with two paid consultants. And ironically, the results of this investigation about his COVID response won't be available until after November, after the legislative races in New Jersey, which I think is absolutely unconscionable. I mean, you're taking taxpayer dollars to pay two consultants. Again, as you mentioned, one of them was a donor to the Murphy campaign, and the other one I'm not sure of. But again, you hit it right on the head. Let's have a bipartisan commission, Republicans and Democrats, that can look at the failed response. Because, folks, and I'll say this again, and I don't care how much trouble it gets me, because the facts are on my side. I always talk about the freedom-loving state of Florida with the great Governor Ron DeSantis, and the freedom-loving state of Texas, one of my favorite state, and the great Governor Greg Abbott there, who got it right about COVID. They took a regional approach to COVID instead of a one-size-fits-all approach that Governor Murphy did, that Governor Cuomo at the time when he wasn't fondling women, right? And also nearby Governor Lamont in Connecticut and also in Pennsylvania. I hate to politicize a virus, but blue governors got it wrong all the way out west with, again, Governor Newsom in California. Blue governors got it wrong. I don't have any faith that this commission is going to produce a report that's going to give us the obvious, because we saw with our own eyes. I hate to say it, Governor Murphy killed people. His policies killed people. And unfortunately, the Department of Health is no better, because they should have held the governor more accountable, or at least stepped in and said, Governor, this isn't right. This isn't the science we should be following. But unfortunately, we may never get those answers. Just like we had to wait years for answers about 9/11, we might have to wait years to get answers about COVID.
Well, it's wrong. There are people who are still struggling. I know that I talk to people in the healthcare industry. So many people were leaving employment in the healthcare industry because of the pressure, the regulations, and how difficult it was just to carry out their responsibilities. And the one last comment I'd like to make about what I would want to focus on: a third of all small businesses closed their doors as a result of the government lockdown of our economy. And, I've said this many times, the early days of the pandemic, no one really knew how severe this was going to be. And I think taking radical steps in the early days is something that was reasonable.
Sure.
But after time went on and some places began to open, and there were, liquor stores remained open, but places of worship could not. There was no logical philosophy, I think, that the state government, Governor Murphy and the state government put forth. It made no sense to so many people. And that needs to be looked at as part of what I have proposed here is a bipartisan commission. I'm not looking to have anyone thrown under the bus. We need to be honest and candid. There were probably some things that they did right, but there were some things that they didn't. And we need to try to learn from our past actions.
Mike, very simply, why are you a better choice than Andrew Zwicker?
Well, again, I'm an independent thinker. I have legislative experience. I've understood from a small business perspective. I was in family-owned business for many years. I have experience at other levels of government. I understand the impact that the state's actions has on small business as well as local government and school districts. And I will be a strong voice to carry out a very, very important role of the legislature, which is oversight of the executive branch. I know how to do that. I have done that in other positions, and my opponent doesn't seem to understand that very, very important responsibility of the state legislature.
Mike, I don't mean to sound mean, not to you, I think to the audience in general, but this comes across as sort of very hateful, supposedly, by some of the NJGOP. But I'm a little skeptical. I'm a little nervous this year because while Republicans made some gains in 2021 in the legislature, they fumbled it last year during the midterm congressional races. The NJGOP or the GOP in general can sort of, but they can, beat their chest about, oh my God, we won the majority. It was a slimmer majority than it should be. It should be a bigger majority in the House of Representatives. Instead of just winning one congressional seat in New Jersey, there should have been as many as 3. And that wasn't the case. And I don't want to put all the blame on the national chair or the state chair, because again, there are moving parts here. But I'm just nervous about the NJGOP this year because they have a great opportunity to sort of highlight, again, what Trenton is doing wrong. Where I live in LD 33, my state senator is also my mayor. He's a blue-collar Democrat. He's a working-class Democrat. He understands his community. He understands his district. He doesn't subscribe to woke nonsense. He doesn't care about pronouns. He cares about property taxes. He cares about trying to keeping them reasonable. You see what I'm saying? But that's the problem is in Trenton, there are a lot of far-left woke Democrats that are more concerned with pronouns and all that garbage, which I don't care about. Doesn't mean I'm not like, inclusive or whatever, accepting. No, I care about common everyday kitchen table things. And I'm just concerned that the NJGOP is just going to beat the drums of, well, the Democrats just spend too much or taxes too high. We know this. Okay. Again, there are people in the legislature with the functional IQ of office furniture, but somehow they keep getting reelected. Okay. Republicans have to do a better job of saying, hey, let's have better outreach with Hispanics. We saw it again in registrations last year in 2021. Let's reach out to more Black voters. Let's reach out to like maybe disenfranchised blue collar Democrats in not just your district or statewide. I'm just concerned that, the goal line is right there. They either fumble the ball or get stopped at the 1-yard line. And that's my biggest concern in a year where Republicans should make some gains in the legislature.
Well, I agree. And one thing that I'm doing in this campaign that, frankly, I didn't do 2021, I've started much earlier. And I have been reaching out to not just Republicans, but I've been reaching out to average people that I know, some people that I don't know, that have never been involved in anything like this before. And I got to tell you, the response, the enthusiastic response that I'm getting is remarkable. And it's not because I'm running. It's because people are concerned about what's happening. They're concerned about what's happening in our healthcare system that we've talked about, the lack of support from law enforcement officials, from some people at high levels of government, concerned about what's happening in schools. You're right. New Jersey spends too much, but that is not enough to make a difference in changing the party, but the philosophical majority in the state legislature. And that's what I'm focusing upon. There are some good Democrats that I've known over the years, and there's some Republicans who I wouldn't give you 2 cents for.
That's right. You said it perfectly. Yeah. It's
people. What's their values? What are they concerned about? What are they going to focus on? I'll work with anyone. And I look forward to the opportunity to do that.
Folks, it's 6:25 here on the East Coast. We're about to wrap up shortly with State Senate candidate in the 16th Legislative District, Mike Pappas, also a former U.S. representative here in the state of New Jersey, as he joins us here tonight live on Jersey First TV. Mike, before I let you go, certainly one of the things that really caught my eye about your campaign, again, as I've heard through the grapevine, is indeed you are starting earlier. And I think that's a good thing. I think you want to mobilize earlier, outreach, knock on doors earlier. Certainly, you want to get people energized. There's no reason, and I'll say this again. Again, I'm not looking to campaign or audition for a job with the NJGOP. I'm really good where I'm at in academia and in journalism, okay? I'm really, really good money-wise. I'm good awards-wise. I don't need a job with the NJGOP, so let me make that clear. But if you want to take my unsolicited advice, do this. Knock on doors, mobilize with minorities. Again, I'm the last one, Mike, to ever play the identity politics card because I hate that. But again, what we learned after the census is that New Jersey, like much of the country, isn't getting whiter. It's not even getting blacker. It's getting browner with people like me, people with my last name, people with my ethnicity and background. These are the people that Republicans have to mobilize and reach out to. Listen, I'm also a member of the statewide Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. I can't tell you, well over 100,000 Hispanic-owned businesses reside here in New Jersey. They took a hit because of COVID with Governor Murphy. And at the time, Steve Sweeney and Craig Coughlin, who pretty much acquiesced to the governor with the emergency powers and letting him just shut the state down and hurt the state's economy. It boggles my mind when the governor has the audacity to sit there with the Treasury Secretary and say, wow, look at this surplus that we have here. No, the surplus is because of federal dollars and because you borrowed. It's not because you cut taxes. It's not because you cut spending. Hell no, that's not what's going on in New Jersey. I'm just concerned that the NJGOP has to hammer these points home and really, Mike, go after the Hispanic vote. This is who you can gravitate to and say, hey, you want to know why New Jersey is unaffordable? 20 years of some clowns in Trenton that wouldn't know an economics book if it fell right from the sky right on their head.
Right. Well, years ago, I worked for the U.S. Small Business Administration, and the organization, the chamber that you mentioned, Daniel Hara was the leader of that, and had a chance to work with him and many of the members of that organization. Great organization. They represent a very important part of the future of New Jersey's economy. They're hardworking, and those folks that were part of the group at the time I worked with them and assisted them was really, really impressed. We need to engage people like that, not just in my campaign, but just in any effort in the state to try to establish policies that will help small business growth. That has been traditionally the area of our economy where there's the most job growth, and the state government can do a lot to either help or hinder their success. I want to be a part of people that are going to help them and not hinder them.
Well said. Mike, before I let you go, are you willing to debate State Senator Zwicker?
Absolutely. We in the campaign 2 years ago, we only had one chance to. It wasn't a debate; it was a candidates forum. I welcomed that opportunity, and certainly will welcome it again.
Well, one thing here on Jersey First, Mike, we're going to definitely be very invested in legislative races, just like we were last year in congressional races. Listen, I'm looking to host as many debates and candidate forums as possible. Hey, you said it on the air. I'm going to try to make it happen with you and Andrew Zwicker.
Great.
I'll do my best. But ladies and gentlemen, before I let you go again, Mike, you're a gentleman for coming on. Again, your commitment to public service is so admirable. I want to wish you the best of luck. And folks, LD16 is one of the more competitive races this year in this election cycle. It's a race you definitely want to keep an eye out for, not just with this race, but the other, obviously the 4 assembly candidates. Republicans have a chance to steal LD16, which they had really in possession for quite some time back in the day. I think Republicans have a great chance to turn it red coming up this November. And obviously leading the way to do that is State Senate candidate Mike Pappas, our guest this week. Mike, I want to thank you for your time. You're a gentleman. I appreciate being a fan of the show. I'll give you the last word here tonight.
Thank you so much, and appreciate your involvement. What you do is to help raise discussion about really important issues. I thank you for the chance to be a part of this tonight.
All right, Mike, I appreciate your time, and we'll have you back on during this election cycle here on Jersey First TV.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
You too.
Take care. Folks, great show there. Great segment with State Senate candidate Mike Pappas, again, out of the 16th Legislative District. And certainly, I have not seen what the rest of the ticket looks like, but I can tell you, ladies and gentlemen, it's a formidable ticket for sure. Shout out to Nicholas McCarskey, an amazing operative and a guy who really makes my job easier when it comes to scheduling guests because of all the great guests he gets me consistently. And I got a special surprise from next Monday. You definitely want to tune in for that. But folks, once again, it's a race to look out for in LD16, really in Central Jersey. It's a race that Republicans can win this November, folks. And as I mentioned, majorities that the Democrats have are at 46-34 in the Assembly and 24-16 in the state Senate. I mean, it's there. Republicans in this cycle and in 2025 have a great opportunity to shave into this lead and maybe bring some accountability back to Trenton. Again, investing in property tax relief, not pronouns, not spending money to create a legal fund to provide legal counsel to illegals, okay? And all the other woke nonsense that for some reason many in the legislature seem to subscribe to. We got to get these people out of Trenton, folks, and bring back some financial stability, some economic common sense, which has been lacking in Trenton for quite some time. And I think, again, LD16, folks, a race you definitely want to keep an eye out for here in 2023. Ladies and gentlemen, before I let you go, yes, it's that time of the show. And again, as a reminder, I cannot say it enough, ladies and gentlemen, of course, always check out our content on Jersey First TV, of course, on all of our social media brands. But it's that time of the show, folks, where it is our swing and a miss in Garden State media. And when I think about who swings and who misses in Garden State media, folks, I got to tell you, one of the biggest culprits in the state of New Jersey, you know who it is. It's Insider NJ. And I have to tell you that when I think of a political swing and a miss, again, in general, and especially in media, Insider NJ leads the way because what happens, folks, is never mind the amount of propagandists that masquerade as journalists. We all know who they are. Okay, Max Pizarro, Jay Lassiter, Bob Hennelly, Alan Steinberg. Thank God for commonsensical writers like Al Sullivan and even Freddie Snowflake. Now, I don't like any of Freddie's politics, but he's a damn good writer. And Al Sullivan, a fellow conservative, an amazing writer, the dean of Hudson County journalism. So again, when you think about maybe offsetting some of the incompetence that you see at Insider NJ, thank God for Freddie Snowflake, and especially thank God for Al Sullivan. But folks, do you want to hear what a really big swing and a miss is this week? Really, from Insider NJ? And I have to tell you, it really resides with its general manager, Pete O'Nelia. Again, a guy who, let's be very honest, is more concerned with getting advertising dollars than really running a reputable news site, one that isn't as overly partisan as Insider NJ has become. And what's really a swing and a miss here is the fact that nobody is calling out sort of like this blatant disservice that Pete O'Nelia is doing. Now, again, not only is he the general manager of Insider NJ, he's also the owner of Tap Into Hawthorne. And I came across an article over the weekend from Tap Into Hawthorne, right? With, I don't know, maybe 8 readers that it has. Okay. Talking about the Hawthorne Democratic Organization is inviting local Democrats to run for office and to get involved. Folks, this is what's funny. When you look at that article, you look at that picture, and you see on the sort of right-hand side of that group of people, the pudgy guy there, yeah, that's Pete O'Nelia, the Insider NJ general manager. Now, can someone explain to me how we're supposed to take Insider NJ seriously when the general manager of the news site is openly campaigning? Again, he's the chairman of the Hawthorne Democratic Committee, but he's openly campaigning and using yet again another news site that he's a part of, that he has ownership in, to push a Democratic agenda. Folks, isn't the general manager of a news site supposed to be at least somewhat nonpartisan, right? I mean, I'll look at, for example, Tap Into Jersey City. That's owned, also Bayonne and Hoboken collectively. They're owned by my good friend Steve Lennox, and he's appeared on my local podcast, Talking the Hudson, which, by the way, you can listen to on blogtalkradio.com/Talking the Hudson. But Steve Lennox doesn't go out of his way to go, I don't know, run to be the local municipal chair of the Democratic Party in the township he lives in. But again, folks, it's about having awareness. It's about the awareness that Petey lacks. And Peter, you're a grown-ass man. And I get it. You know, what's interesting to me is the fact that no one calls you out on this except me, because who else has the integrity? Okay? You would think that at some point in time that the Graham family, that Ryan and Mike Graham collectively would sort of sit you down Hey, say, Peter, listen, we appreciate your job as insider GM. You're working from home, making six figures, doing, just scratching your ass, petting your dog, and just, uploading content. I mean, that's not really work. And you're still getting paid six figures here. But the fact is that Mike and Ryan should sit you down and say, hey, Peter, it's a bad look here that you're the general manager of a news site, that you own a local and sort of online newspaper, and you're openly sort of telling everyone, yes, I am the chair of the Democratic Party in Hawthorne, and that I'm looking to run a slate of candidates. How is that objective? Now, we know Insider NJ isn't objective. It's full of left-wing, overly partisan, woke nonsense. And you can see it all the time, folks, with columns, the other gibberish that they publish. But what does it say about lacking awareness? Peter, at some point, you're a grown-ass man. You have to have a little more awareness. It's a bad look. But again, when you're making six figures and you're bringing in advertising dollars from the NJEA and Planned Parenthood, what do you care? And obviously, I also have to put the blame on Mike and Ryan, Graham, because guess what? You're lacking awareness too. You're enabling Peter by allowing him to do this. And it's a bad look, guys. It's a bad look. No, there's no way around it. It's a bad look when the general manager of a news site is also openly participating as a Democrat in local politics. Folks, if you don't see the conflict of interest here, if you don't see that, quite frankly, folks, this just knocks away any integrity or neutrality or objectivity by Insider NJ, then folks, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what you're smoking or what you're drinking. Because anybody, again, with a functional IQ can see this. Now, again, I don't expect the editor-in-chief at Insider NJ to pull Peter aside. Why? Peter enables him, right? Peter enables Max Pizarro. Again, a guy with probably the functional IQ of office furniture. He enables him by letting him publish his left-wing nonsense and the rest of the left-wing gibberish we see at Insider NJ. But folks, when you talk about swing and a miss, look no further than Peter Onelia, the general manager of Insider NJ. Don't let him fool you, folks. Don't let Insider NJ ever fool you that they're a credible, objective, neutral news site. They're clearly not. And right here on Tap Into Hawthorne, that clearly paints the picture. But of course, folks, when we talk about also a swing and a miss this week in Garden State media, of course, look no further than Alan Steinberg. And I'm sure Alan is, it's 6:35 here on the East Coast. And I know Alan's not watching because it's past his bedtime for sure. Okay. I'm sure he'll watch the replay too because he can't help himself. And believe me, folks, he's watching because when you look at the Facebook notifications, when he's hearting something and he's hearting posts of mine, that tells you he's watching. Maybe, I'm not sure if he's watching live, but he's definitely watching the show. And never mind the fact, folks, I mean, this is just an awful picture with an awful baseball cap. Of course, you could find another baseball cap of a different team, which is interesting. Again, as a grown-ass man in his 90s that can't pick a team to save his life. But this was interesting. I mean, never mind the fact that his sports IQ is in the gutter, just like his political IQ, but his latest swing and a miss comes to you in just an awful article. And it's funny because, when I hear or when I, obviously I see the email because I guess I'm on some email list, right? Where, Alan Steinberg, just beats his chest so proudly that he's on the Matt Friedman, New Jersey political playbook. Well, of course, Matt Friedman's another left winger, just like Alan Steinberg. Do you expect anything less from Matt Friedman? Of course, he's going to enable and acquiesce and coddle left wingers like Alan Steinberg and publish his nonsense and other left-wing nonsense that we all know comes out of the political New Jersey playbook. But his latest column, folks, I have to tell you, is just an egregious reach. Talking about Ron DeSantis could create a political nightmare for Chitterelli. Now, I'm not going to tell you the long and gist of it, right? I mean, obviously, when you read the column, it is just laughable, okay? We should be so lucky to get Ron DeSantis as president in 2024, okay? By the way, folks, in January 2021, right after Donald Trump left office, 1.9 inflation rate. Today, February 2023, it's at 7.6. I don't know why Alan Steinberg and all the left-wingers at Insider NJ are shooting a load in their pants because there's nothing to brag about, okay? We should be so lucky to get someone like Ron DeSantis, who, by the way, Alan, got it right on COVID, okay? I'm waiting, okay? I'm just like I'm waiting on your New York Mets to win a World Series. I'm waiting on you to give me a column talking about inflation. I'm waiting on you to write a column about, again, this commission that's supposed to be examining Governor Murphy's COVID response, which we know was wrong. We know Ron DeSantis got it right. We also know Greg Abbott got it right in Texas as well. Murphy got it wrong. Cuomo got it wrong. Kathy Hochul continues to get it wrong. Now Lamont gets it wrong in Connecticut. And of course, we know they get it wrong in Pennsylvania. But you'll never write a column about this supposed commission that's going to examine the governor's COVID response. That's what you should be focusing on, folks, not Jack Ciattarelli's chances in 2025, which, again, I think are very suspect at best, especially if NJ 101.5 FM host Bill Spadea jumps into the race. Once Bill Spadea jumps in the race, I'm telling you, Jack's going to have his hands full. Bill Spadea is well-liked. A lot of independents like him. It's going to be a very highly contested race. But let's get back to Alan Steinberg's column. Sort of vilifying Ron DeSantis, who, again, registered more voters this year. The Florida Republican Party registered more voters this year. Not just Republican voters, okay? But even independents decided to go register Republican because of the exceptional job that Ron DeSantis is doing. He's not disenfranchising black people. You didn't see a dip or a decline in the black vote in Florida when he won re-election a couple months ago, Alan. Alan, be right on your facts, okay? There was a rise in the Hispanic vote. Why? Because Hispanics are seeing that Republicans like Ron DeSantis are not acquiescing to woke nonsense. See, people like Alan Steinberg and the other propagandists at Insider NJ, like little JJ Lassiter and Bob Hennelly, Max Pizarro, and everybody else, right? They, you know what? They care more about pronouns and property taxes. They care more about woke nonsense than real kitchen table issues. But Alan won't tell you that. Alan won't tell you that. Alan would rather lecture you with this nauseating sense of moral superiority, which he doesn't have any. Okay, he doesn't have any. Okay, if you know a little bit about Alan Steinberg, he doesn't have one leg to stand on morally. Okay, in terms of the positions he's taken. So, Alan, stop, because everyone sees it but you, and that's okay. And I get it. Pete O'Neil will continue to publish your nonsense, and Max Pizarro will continue to coddle you and publish your nonsense as well. But folks, this is just plain out BS. Okay, vilify Ron DeSantis when we all know the facts are not on Alan's side. But yet this passes as journalism. I get it at Insider NJ. The standards are low at Insider NJ. I get it. Ever since I left, the standards they've declined. They've declined quicker than the Brooklyn Nets' chances of winning the NBA Finals or the New York Mets' chances of winning the World Series. Okay, but when we see a blatant disregard for facts like this column, folks, once again, it's Alan Steinberg and Pete O'Neil, without question, the swing and a miss this week in Garden State media. It's a shame, folks. They should know better. They're grown-ass men. Peter's like in his 30s. Alan's in his mid to late 90s. These are grown men that should have more awareness. Why they don't? Just boggles the mind, folks. And that's our show for this week. Once again, I want to thank LD 16 State Senate candidate Mike Pappas for a very interesting conversation today as he's running to unseat State Senator Zwicker in the 16th Legislative District. Again, a very interesting race. One you definitely have to keep an eye out for. And of course, what you also have to keep an eye out for is Jersey First on all of your social media platforms, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you like Real Talk with Fernando Uribe and Jersey First on Facebook. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at the Fernando Zone. Also follow Jersey First, same handle on both Instagram and Twitter. Make sure you subscribe to the Jersey First YouTube page. Great traffic. And of course, wherever you get your podcasts, on Spotify or SoundCloud, download it. Whatever it is you're doing, going to the gym, walking your dog, wherever it is, you get your podcast and you listen to it, take Jersey First TV with you. And of course, folks, I cannot say enough about how proud I am to be a part of the Jersey First team. Of course, with my exceptional teammates, Elizabeth Nader, the host of the Nader Narrative. You can check her out every Thursday with new episodes, as well as new episodes of Bridging the Gap with two sensational millennial superstars such as AJ Malilo and, of course, Stephen Rambolo, certainly hosting Bridging the Gap every single week as new episodes are available via Jersey First TV. Of course, by going to jerseyfirst.org/TV, all there, menus right there for you, folks. Sharing is caring. Do me a favor, share all of the episodes whenever you can. The traffic is organic, especially on this show, as well as all the other shows. Folks, nothing paid for here, nothing boosted, okay? Not like some of these other Mickey Mouse journalists, right? Everything here is organic, folks. It's like Whole Foods. All that great organic blueberries and all that great, organic blue corn. Everything you buy at Whole Foods that's organic, that's solid, that's what this show is. It's the Whole Foods of Garden State Media. With organic traffic, I don't have to pay for anything. I don't have to pay for anyone to watch my shows. People want to watch them, especially all the haters. And that's why Jersey First continues to do so well, because of you, my loyal and very intelligent viewing audience. And always remember, folks, we're always educating, we're always engaging, and we're always entertaining here on Jersey First TV. Check us out always at www.jerseyfirst.org/TV. All of our great programming is there available for you. And always remember, ladies and gentlemen, if it's unbiased, unfiltered, and unafraid, it is always real talk right here with Jersey First TV. I am New Jersey's premier award-winning journalist, 7-time, by the way. Folks, I don't even fit in this house. Look at all these awards. I can't even fit in here. I feel like I'm squished in here. Also, Top 100 Latino, Viva Latino Spirit Online Magazine, and, of course, the weapon of mass disruption here in Garden State Media. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's the handsome, cold-hearted devil myself. Yes, it's Fernando Uribe, folks, wearing that jersey red. I can't say it enough. Let's go Rutgers as they continue on in their march to the big NCAA tournament coming up in mid-March, March Madness. Folks, the Scarlet Knights are hot. Keep watching them. Of course, let's go Rutgers. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching.